Hello guys, so as you can tell by the title of this video, this is going to be the ultimate agency scaling guide that you need in order to actually scale your agency to 100K and MRR. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. So we're going to start off with just a quote to actually get you into the mindset of scaling, and it's from Steve Jobs, and it says, "Great things in business are never done by one person." Now, the reason why I threw this quote in here is because in order to scale, we're going to need to build a team that is optimized and designed to run without us. So let's just jump right into it. So who this video is actually for. First of all, if you're an agency owner that's stuck under 10K or at 10K MRR, then this is the only guide that you're going to need to watch in order to scale from $10,000 to $100,000 in MRR quickly. Now, just for some context, in January 2025, so just 6.5 months ago, I was making $3,000 per month in my agency. In the time span of 6.5 months to now, in July, we're doing $80,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Now, of course, I know that sounds pretty crazy, but here are the proofs up on your screen. A screenshot of my agency's revenue last month, which is $70,000. And of course, in January, where we did 3K in cash collection, and we had $800 come through on a different payment processor. Now, of course, we are on track to do 80K this month. So I'm definitely one of the best examples to prove that with the right scaling strategy and mindset that I'm going to share with you in this video, anyone can scale 10 times faster, just like I did. So quick disclaimer, this is an advanced guide for scaling your agency. So if you're below like 3K MRR, then there's honestly like no point in watching this video because it's not going to really serve you and benefit you the way it will with someone at like $5,000 to $10,000 MRR. So just save this video for later and come back and watch it. So before we actually jump into the good stuff, let's go ahead and give a quick overview of what we're actually going to be covering within this video. First of all, the anti-scaling mindset. Then of course, killing the freelancer in disguise. Then we're going to talk about the front end and back end of your agency and how to actually scale that. We're going to be talking about creating systems and SOPs. We're going to talk about how to actually craft simple yet scalable offers. Of course, we're going to talk about increasing your top of funnel because that's necessary in order to scale. And then of course, we're going to talk about some of the downsides of scaling quickly, my leverage ladder, and then of course, last but not least, investing into the right information to fast track your success. So first of all, let's jump into the anti-scaling mindset. So the main problem with most agency owners is that they avoid scaling until it's like a do or die situation. In my entrepreneurship journey, I've seen countless people trying to avoid delegating tasks and compromising their life just to save some money. Now, the main thing here is that if you just want to have a team of yourself and maybe like one VA, you're never going to really be able to scale past 15K in MRR. And that's honestly really stretching it because you're going to be essentially slaving away within your agency. So how we kill this mindset by doing exactly what we're going to be talking about in this section. Of course, the first principle of scaling is to understand just one basic rule, and that is you have limited energy and time. So either you can use it to work on your business and work on the high leverage task that will actually move the needle, or you're stuck working within the business and not actually allowing yourself to scale. So of course, this brings us back to our initial question, and that's why do most agency owners struggle to scale their agency? So the answer is pretty simple and straightforward. Most agency owners are focusing their limited time and energy on the wrong tasks. In order to scale your business rapidly, you need to use leverage. Now, what does that actually mean? So leverage comes in many types and forms. So of course, first of all, you can buy like tools, softwares, even AI infrastructure that helps buy back your time depending on the task that you want to outsource. And of course, you can help hire employees to buy back your time and then actually can fulfill certain tasks for you. Now, the main goal is to work on your business rather than in your business. But what's funny is that either people focus on low leverage tasks like fixing minute details in their website, logo, or even doing all their operational tasks, which just helps them to sustain the current revenue but lack scalability because they end up spending all of their time doing the same service delivery on their own, doing outreach on their own, closing deals on their own, managing communication with the client on their own, and so much more. So this kind of busyness feels productive, but let's be honest here. It's actually what's keeping you small. You're stuck in a loop where nothing grows, but just remains exactly where it already is. So this trap forces the founder to act like a freelancer rather than the businessman that you actually want to become. So how do you transition from a slave mentality to a boss mentality? So in order to do this, I want you to do a time audit of yourself for the next 7 days. Every 30 minutes, write down what you did within that time period. This is going to allow you to collect data on exactly what tasks you need to delegate from low leverage all the way to high leverage. So once you have data on a full week of 30-minute increments by noting exactly what you did down in each 30-minute increment, you're going to be able to ask yourself key questions like which of these tasks made you the most money or moved the business forward, and which of these could have been done by someone else. After answering these questions, eliminate or delegate tasks which you know did not help you make more money or grow the business, or can be done by someone else. This is going to allow you to buy back your time and actually start working on the business and focus on growing. Obviously, assuming you are above like 5K MRR, you will have a little bit of capital to hire and delegate so you can focus on the high leverage things. And here is where you're going to want to forget about profit margins, because let's be honest, guys, if you're at like 5 to 10K MRR, you're not going to get rich at that amount of money in the first place. So you might as well actually start to form a company and an agency so you can scale to 100K MRR so you can actually start to stack cash in your bank account. This way, you're going to start removing yourself from the low leverage and day-to-day tasks, allowing you to actually focus on what's going to move the needle forward within your agency. So after you do the 30-minute time audit for 7 days, I want you to pick one thing that you're doing currently right now, like maybe setting up client ads, making client reports, or sending outreach emails, or even finding leads, and delegate that and record yourself doing it using Loom, break it into a simple checklist, and upload it into Google Drive. Now you'll have a basic training module that you can provide to all the people that join the team. When I say that, I essentially mean bringing on a VA to help you actually delegate the tasks that you have recorded yourself doing. And you can pay these people anywhere from $3, $4 to $5 an hour. And now you just bought back 30 minutes, an hour, depending on how much of your time you're delegating to these tasks. Now, of course, this VA that you hire can handle multiple tasks. So maybe you can outsource 4 or 5 hours of your time to this VA, and using that formula, of course, you just bought 4 to 5 hours back of your time. That's just a pure example of how high leverage hiring a VA can actually be for your agency. And you can actually find these people for $3 to $4 to $5 an hour. And a great place to find these people is on Facebook groups. You can look up virtual assistants in Philippines. That's a great group. And I can even give you guys some suggestions in terms of groups. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram or shoot me a message on Discord. So yeah, guys, the most important thing with actually delegating your time is just hiring a simple VA to actually start building your team. So you're going to want to delegate that by going into Facebook groups and finding people that can work for $500 to $600 a month and actually handle 40-hour work weeks for you. So obviously you don't need to hire a full-time employee in the beginning stages if you don't need it. Pick some tasks that one VA will be able to handle. You want to ideally keep it within like kind of the same vertical or department so they can kind of have repetition within the same scope of services. And then of course you need to find the right person that can actually fulfill on these tasks. Hire them, give them a couple clear tasks, train them, and track weekly. This is exactly how you're going to start buying back your time within your agency so you can actually scale. For example, down here, like finding leads and sending outreach messages. This can easily be done by someone else if you're actually providing them with the right training modules and guidance. And of course, that can take up to like 5 to 6 hours of your day if you're actually, grinding outreach. And now you can hire a VA to handle that for you for like $3 to $4 to $5 an hour. And now you just bought back like 5 hours of your time to actually start focusing on different tasks that will push the agency forward. So of course, now it comes down to creating systems. So I know most people are scared of the term SOPs when you're just starting out because they seem super fancy or super hard to actually make. Now, the truth is you don't need perfect systems. You just need to record what the hell you're doing and write it down in a doc and add a Loom. That's really all you need to start building SOPs, because something that I learned in entrepreneurship is that SOPs are living, breathing documents. They're supposed to be upgraded and improved. So it's not hard at all. I just want you to record yourself doing something on Loom and then create a document describing what you did with a checklist. That's what an SOP is. That's how you start off. So if you do something more than 3 times, I want you to record it. That's a rule that we have in our agency. If someone does something more than 3 times and it's not already a SOP, then we go ahead and make it an SOP. After you record your first SOP breaking down the task, you just simply put it into a Google Drive folder, label them clearly, like for example, client onboarding, 10-minute walkthrough, or weekly reporting, template plus process, or ad setup plus lead form campaign. Those are all just simple examples of like SOPs. Now, of course, you actually start to build a training library to delegate these tasks to your staff members. Now that's going to be your back-end systems. It's not crazy. It's not fancy. It's not super complex. It's actually very simple. This is what you need to do in order to actually scale. So every time that you hire someone new, you don't need to really sit down with them for 2 hours. Now, of course, you're going to want to get to know them. You're going to want to actually see if they're a good fit for your company culture or for what you're trying to actually build. But if you have these SOPs, you basically just need to get them ramped up on the scope of services. And then if these are actually made correctly and put together well, then you just need to basically hand these people your SOPs and they're going to be able to fulfill what they actually need to do. That's actually how you scale. That's leverage. Record exactly what you do and move on. Now, of course, you need to be making sure they're doing good things. They're actually fulfilling quality work within your agency. But if you set them up with success, they will be following the SOP directly and you'll be okay. Now it takes us into why front end is very important when scaling. And of course, the back end is obviously very important at scale. But when you're just trying to get the 10K or 20K or 30K MRR, back end is very, very streamlined and simple. Of course, most people are stressing over their back end operations systems. But honestly, let me just tell you a secret. Fuck operations. The problem is your pipeline is weak and there is hardly anyone in your calendar. If your lead flow is inconsistent, then everything else is useless. Why would you focus on building a whole back-end operation system when you don't even have enough lead flow to fulfill all of the systems that you're trying to build? You need to work on exploding your lead flow so you can actually have the opportunity to sell your service and then start crafting actual internal operations within the back end. So what does the front end actually mean? The front end in agency is going to be the ability to sell, the ability to gather leads, and of course, basically your offer. And of course, there's appointment setting and then your sales team, but we're going to keep it super simple because we're obviously not at that scale yet. It's really just having leads, focusing on sales, and getting people interested in your service. So your offer, your outreach, your ads, your content, your calendar, your socials, this is your front end. And if you can fix this, you can easily scale your agency. So focus on getting this right. Setting appointments is the only thing that matters when scaling to 50K a month, basically. You don't really need to focus on anything else. You need to have appointments though. That is the only way you'll be able to scale. So for example, if you're not closing calls, there's no need to fix your onboarding processes. Fix the offer. Right, guys? What I'm trying to make sense of here is that you don't need to focus on all the tasks that aren't directly correlated with growing your agency through sales and getting new clients. Why would you focus on back-end operations or fixing your onboarding when you don't have anyone to onboard or you just have 2 people to onboard? You need to have dozens of clients to onboard in order to actually start making systems and optimizing the backend. Backend is so important, but this is just to get you to like 20 to 30 to 50K per month. Of course, you can get to 100K per month using exactly these scaling guidelines. But chances are, if you're watching this video, you're probably at like 3 to 10K MRR and you're trying to scale, but you're kind of in that mindset right now where you don't really know how to. Another example is if no one is booking calls, then fix your funnel or fix your top of funnel. We need to get attention and people to our offer so we actually have the opportunity to sell. That takes us to the simple offer sell section. So now let me break this down for you. Here's an example of just what doesn't really make sense and what kind of everyone does in the agency space is we provide a comprehensive marketing solution to help small and mid-sized businesses improve brand awareness, optimize lead acquisition pipelines, and enhance digital presence using a multi-channel approach. Now, of course, guys, this sounds super fancy, but it's like every agency claims to do that. So what you really want to do with a simple offer so you can scale it is just having something that's very easy to comprehend. For example, we help real estate agents book 15 qualified appointments in 30 days or you don't pay. That makes sense. This is breaking down exactly what we are offering them and how we're going to do it. All of our clients don't care about the avenue. They care about the outcome. If we say, hey, we're going to get you 15 roofing jobs in 30 days, you think they care if it's coming from Google or if it's coming from cold calling or if it's coming from literally a phone book? They don't care. They care about the outcome that they're going to get, not the avenue. So a simple offer in order to actually scale is going to be something that's very simple, specific, and outcome driven. Now, of course, that takes us to expanding your top of funnel. Now, most people avoid ads and purely stick to cold outreach or organic marketing. But trust me, when I say that running paid ads can literally increase your agency's revenue in under 30 days, I mean it. Like, seriously. Of course, I know it might be heavy on your pocket. Paid ads are definitely still the best way to get clients to your offer and service. So for example, I launched my agency. I actually remember the date. It was September 23rd of 2023. By December of 2023, I already launched my first ad campaign. It was very uncomfortable for me at first, but with the right strategy, it's an auto appointment booking machine. It also fast-tracked my path to success. What I mean by that is that it gave me the opportunity to actually sell and be in the environment of talking to prospects that I want to work with. It gave me the ability to see what I have to change, see what I actually have to say, and how to actually, of course, resonate with my ideal client profile. It fast-tracked my success because I was able to take those sales calls more frequently and more rapidly than doing cold outreach. So, of course, you need the right strategy. You need a proven sales process in order to run paid ads. So if you don't have a proven sales process, I do not recommend just jumping into paid ads, you need to actually have a proven sales process. If you have a proven sales process, I guarantee that you'll be able to scale to 10K MRR very quickly. I'm not even joking. If you were to use the same strategy that I did, you'd be able to 100% add 10K in MRR within 30 days. It's exactly what I did. For example, like you guys saw, I literally scaled from 3K to 80K in the time span of like 6.5 months using my exact strategies. I've had multiple guys copy the exact ad setup and sign their first client within 7 days. Now, of course, that's not typical, but it's a very simple process. It's having the sales process dialed in and then having clear advertisements with clear call to actions and funneling that traffic into a simple book a call funnel. Setting up a campaign like that will guarantee getting clients. I've literally had people sign clients within 7 days with the exact formula that I've used. So if you got the budget, you have a proven sales process, don't overthink it, just run ads. It's totally worth it. With that, I also recommend adding multiple acquisition channels like cold outreach and organic marketing, like organic YouTube channels. And then, coupling that with cold outreach is also great because if you can have multiple acquisition channels, it's just going to make your ability to land more appointments. Overall, the main motive is to increase your top of funnel so you can have more people and more attention to book a call with you and actually be interested in working with you. That's how you're going to be able to scale, is expanding your top of funnel and focusing on the two things, which is going to be setting appointments and sales. That's what's going to get you to the next level, guys, because then you're going to have capital to reinvest back into your agency, back into paid ads, back into developing systems, back into actually hiring staff members, getting better softwares. It's exactly what you need in order to scale. So now we're going to talk about some downsides of actually scaling really quickly, like temporary low profit margins. It's not that big of a deal. If you actually want to get rich, this is kind of, necessary. So you might think that applying all of these principles, your profit margins will be messed up, but let me give you an actual example. So let's say your hiring process looks like this. Month 1, you hire the VA, profit drops by a little bit. Month 2, you actually start to run ads. Now your profit's dropping from your current MRR. Month 3, you start to buy softwares and CRMs or even hiring another employee. Your profit continues to drop. Month 4, hiring a setter for your front end and sales team. Now your profit drops again. Month 5, you build a team and you start to panic. Now, genuinely, if you follow that process, your profit margins actually might not technically decrease because hopefully you'll be signing more clients and collecting more cash. So either it will stay the same or it will slightly decrease because you're starting to bring on more teams and reinvesting into the business. But of course your profit might dip a little bit, but you're buying leverage for the long run and buying the ability to scale to 6-figure months, which is actually going to allow you to make way more money when it comes to profit and actually get rich. What you're doing here is buying speed and buying the ability to focus on what's important, which is massive when scaling. So here's kind of an actual example with revenue numbers. So instead of like making 10K and keeping 7, now you're like doing 20K and keeping 5K. Of course, that sounds really bad. That's like 25% margins, but this is just short term. Remember that, guys. But this leverage that you're buying will soon allow you to hit 50K and actually keep 30K plus while working less, because that same team that you hired will be able to handle more clientele than you'll be able to. So your profit margins will begin to increase once you actually scale, because you're going to be able to bring on more clients and you won't have to hire more people until, of course, they reach their cap. And then you have to make a new agency pod within your backend. So focus on net margin trends over 6 to 12 months and don't panic over profits per month for a while. Because guys, like I said, you're not going to get rich doing 5 to 10K MRR operating on like 80 to 90% margins because you're just a one-man show. You're just going to honestly be a slave to your business, or honestly just a glorified freelancer. If you really want to get rich, you're going to actually, of course, need to start implementing team members and buying back your time. Now, that's going to cause you, like I said, to most likely decrease your profit margins, but over time, it's actually designed to, of course, make you way more money. So it's just something that you have to take into consideration when doing this. And, it's obviously worth it. For example, we're operating on about 75% profit margins right now in our agency, doing 80K per month. That profit margin will actually begin to gradually increase over time because our same staff members are going to be able to take on more clients when we sign without us having to actually increase our fixed cost. So it's something that you have to take into consideration when scaling, is that your profit margins will drop drastically, but of course it's so you can make more money in the long run. And of course, guys, I know if you're watching this video, you want to get rich. You don't want to just make 5K per month. You want to make 100K, 200K per month, even, more than that as well. I know a lot of you guys want to make a lot more money than that. So this takes me into my leverage ladder. So here's a little side note about actually what I do in my agency. So I run a lead generation. So for me, hiring people in this order made the most sense, but it might be different for you if you're offering something else like a different service or to a different industry. So my hiring process went like this. First, I got a media buyer who handles the actual client fulfillment and running the advertisements and setting up our clients' funnels and like landing page. Then I hired patient coordinators or inside sales agents. Those are the people that actually call our leads that we generate for our clients. Now we do work with dental clinics, so that's why we call them patient coordinators. When we generate a lead for our client, our patient coordinator follows up with them to actually get them scheduled for their appointment. Then we hired an onboarding specialist to help streamline the whole process from when a client signs up with us to actually getting their system set up within Go High Level. Then we have an operations manager that actually kind of like holds the whole agency together and makes sure that we're actually operating effectively, meaning onboarding's going good. The ISA department is all good. They have their questions answered and they're operating great. The media buyer is in line and we're actually meeting KPIs and essentially just holding all the operations together. Then we hired a client success manager to actually handle the client communication and onboarding process, like the onboarding call. And then of course we have graphic designers and creative specialists. Now, these people were kind of freelancers, but then we finally brought them in-house, and they are the people that actually handle our clients' ads, like making them, and then of course providing us with new creatives for our clients when we need them, and also handling all of our agency editing when we need videos done for our B2B campaigns or even, like I said, our clients. Now we'll talk about actually some of the key softwares that our agency use in order to have maximum leverage within our sales process, within our onboarding process, and with our fulfillment process as well for our clients. So of course, Go High Level is going to be the main thing here. Most of you guys have probably heard about Go High Level. This is an essential tool if you want to run your agency. It is the best tool in the market, hands down. This allows us to handle all of the client onboarding process and storing all of the client's information within Go High Level that we need. It also allows us to have our sales pipeline in there and then also the client's pipeline in terms of lead management and actually managing the client's leads. Go High Level is the all-in-one tool to set up automations, have calendars, build landing pages. Everything that you basically need to run your agency or just get it off the ground is going to be within Go High Level. That's the best tool that you're going to want to invest in and actually have within your arsenal of softwares. Go High Level is very, very important. Now, Hot Prospector is something that's very unique to our agency or our industry. Hot Prospector allows us to follow up with our clients' leads within like 30 seconds. So what that looks like is that a lead will be generated. Hot Prospector actually integrates directly with Go High Level, and then we're able to follow up with our clients' leads right away. And it's just a very streamlined process, and it allows us to have very dialed in follow-up processes for our clients. Then we have a Pointwise, which is an AI setter for our clients that we use. You can actually build this within Go High Level. We just haven't migrated it over yet. So I put it up here because we are currently using it, and it does handle the whole AI setting for our clients' leads. And then, of course, for project management and actually handling the client onboarding when it comes to specifics like their offer and actual just project management of the client, we use ClickUp. Now, there are multiple other softwares that we use, but these are kind of the biggest softwares. Go High Level, the best plan to be on for your use, usually in the agency space, is going to be the $297 a month plan, so $297 a month. Hot Prospector is $497 a month. You guys won't need this to start off. You can actually call your leads within Go High Level. Pointwise, you don't need that either because that's actually built into Go High Level as an AI setter. And then ClickUp, I definitely recommend being on ClickUp. It's the best project management tool in my opinion and allows us to streamline operations and actually store our SOPs in there as well. And of course, like I said, there's multiple other softwares that we use like Google Suite, Slack, and Loom, and much more actually. But we won't list them all because they're not as important as those main ones up there. That takes us into our last module, and that's investing in the right information. So a quick overview, I've actually invested over $35,000 into my education and info within the last 7 months. So of course I spent that on mentorships, private groups, info products, programs, workshops, anything to actually excel the growth rate of my agency. And that's exactly how I was able to scale from 3K to 8K. It's because I had the right data, the right sales processes from people that have already done what I'm trying to do, and it allowed me to actually scale effectively and very smoothly within that time span. Now, buying information is not mandatory. You're just gonna have to pay with either two things. It's either that you're gonna pay with your time or you're gonna pay with money. So I figured that I wanna just, fast track my process to success. So I instantly started investing into mentorships from people that are already more successful than me. So I could, of course, get the data that they already have and, implement it to my agency so I can scale quicker. So most people are watching free courses and trying to find everything online for free, which is exactly what I did starting off in 2023. And then I only bought my first piece of information in August of 2024, I believe. And the reason why I did that is because I consumed all the free information that I needed in order to essentially establish my product and service, but now I actually needed help scaling. So that's when I bought my first piece of information. What this allowed me to do is actually develop a sales process, and I paid money for it. And it was actually what was holding me back in my agency was I didn't know how to sell effectively, and I didn't know how to actually have a proven sales process. And that's exactly why I bought the information, so I could dial that in and actually scale effectively. So I fully support educating yourself as much as possible for free content. It's exactly what I did, and I do recommend it. But I also recommend if you want to fast track your success, you're going to need to buy information. And I'm not even saying this because I want you to buy courses or, programs. I'm saying this because it's the genuine truth. If you want to fast track your success, buying information from people that have already done what you want to do is the easiest and by far the best way to scale because they have the information that you don't have. So once you buy that info, you're able to apply it directly within your agency and use those principles to scale. Like for example, I just dropped $15,000 on a program to basically streamline the whole agency in the back end because that's the stage that I'm at now. It was literally $15,000 and I, of course bought it because that's what we needed. And it's the best investment that we've made for the agency yet. It has everything that we need to basically scale our operation to like $5 to $7 million a year in annual revenue. So it was an absolute no-brainer because developing those SOPs and systems would have took me 3 years. But just by simply trading $15,000 for it, I was able to unlock those operations and systems within just 1 day. So it was an absolute no-brainer. I paid with money instead of buying with time. It was a simple decision for me. So in short, investing into the right network and information is what can help you scale so quickly. And I'm not even trying to set this up to like say, go buy my mentorship or go buy my course or anything. I'm literally saying this, like I said, guys, because it's the most important thing for you to do in order to scale quickly. Now, of course, if you don't want to, you're just going to be trading your time instead of money. So now, guys, we're basically getting to wrap up the whole video. So the last thing is compress the timeline. So whatever I explained to you in this video, I didn't get it from some course or YouTube video. I literally built it from the ground up using basically all of the information that I accumulated over the past year and like 8 months. I've developed everything I use now from testing multiple strategies and fulfillment processes, and it's exactly what have gotten us to 3K per month to now hitting 70 to 80K MRR in the time span of just 6.5 months. We are scaling to multi 6 figures right now. Of course, the first step is actually scaling to 6 figures, like 100K per month, but we are in the process of doing that and actually scaling beyond. Now, of course, I don't want to hard sell you on some course of mine, but whatever I showed you in this video is basically more than enough for you to actually get started and scale your agency to at least like 30K MRR. But if you do want to compress the timeline and actually get guaranteed results, then you can go ahead and book a call with me using the link down below in the description. We'll be able to talk and actually see if it makes sense. But yeah, guys, this was the full agency scaling guideline that you need in order to actually scale to, 20, 30, even 100K MRR. So yeah, guys, definitely make sure to go ahead and subscribe if you want more tactical business advice on how to actually scale your agency. And also join the free Discord using the link down below. There's a lot of like-minded individuals in that group, people that are doing 40K per month. Of course, I'm in that and can get access to me. And there's just so many people that are actually looking to start their agency or already have. So definitely make sure to go ahead and join that Discord. Follow my Instagram. Shoot me a DM if you have any questions personally or want to connect with me. Just go ahead and follow me on Instagram. You'll be able to find that link in the description as well. So with that being said, we'll catch you on the next video, and I hope this was helpful. Peace.